Solomon.
Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker, and I welcome the opportunity to speak on this MPI. Politics is an adversarial profession. Each side of the chamber works against the other, the idea being that we test each other's ideas and policy through spirited debate and arrive at the best possible outcome for those that we represent. The system only works when everyone operates within the same rules, and those rules are that we tell the truth. The CFMEU has well and truly crossed the line in their xenophobic and very mendacious, which is the term they like over there, in its campaign against the China Free Trade Agreement. Now, in bringing them to account for this, I need to be careful because here in this place I am bound by more rules, one of which is, Mr Deputy Speaker, that I cannot, no matter how plainly and obvious it is, I can't call anyone a liar. So let me see how I can explain to you, Mr Deputy Speaker, what has happened. Many of my constituents have found this flyer in their letterboxes over the last few weeks. This flyer was authorised by Michael O'Connor from the CFMEU. On this flyer there are 3 key points, and they say facts. Now, Mr Deputy Speaker, none of these 3 points on the flyer are indeed facts. They are not even close to the truth. There is no interpretation of this agreement which could possibly lead anyone to draw the conclusions that Mr O'Connor and his union have presented as facts. I'd like to talk you through the 3 points of fiction which are being dumped into letterboxes across my electorate. I quote, "Chinese companies to invest $150 million or more will be able to bring their own workforces to Australia without having to offer jobs to Australian citizens and residents first. The CFMEU would have us believe that there will be boatloads of cheap foreign labourers arriving to push Australians out of their jobs." Well, Mr Deputy Speaker, this is absolutely nothing in the China Free Trade Agreement which allows that to happen. The 457 visas will remain in place. Australian workers will always get first dibs at the jobs in Australia. The CFMEU go on to claim Chinese companies will be able to bring Chinese-produced products with no safeguards to ensure that they meet Australian standards. Pure fiction, Mr Deputy Speaker. There is nothing in this or any other free trade agreement that would allow undercutting of Australian import regulations, nothing that would change Australian safety laws. They go on to say that Chinese companies do not have to meet the same labour and environmental standards as Australian companies, undercutting our jobs and conditions. Well, Mr Speaker, or Deputy Speaker, no free trade agreement allows any offshore company to operate in Australia outside Australian law. There is no possible legal instrument, no legislation in this parliament that could pass that would allow this to happen. This is not just an exaggeration, Mr Deputy Speaker. This has been pulled from the realms of fantasy. It is not only not happening, it is absolutely not possible. The allegations in this flyer are absurd and unbelievable. It's a discredit to the union movement of Australia. However, this nonsensical pamphlet is not all bad, Mr Deputy Speaker. In fact, I owe the CFMEU a note of thanks. I'm truly grateful for they've included a nice picture of me in this pamphlet, and they've put my name there. You can see, Mr Deputy Speaker, there's an arrow there, and my office phone number. So I'm very pleased about that. But it's great that they're putting their money into spending something to raise my profile in my electorate. So I just want to say thank you. But, Mr Deputy Speaker, the Australian people know that Labor is against jobs. The Australians know that this is a truly xenophobic campaign being run by the unions, and they know that Labor actually has a choice. They can support the unions, or they can support Australians and make sure that we take the opportunity to implement this free trade agreement that can build on jobs and build on growth, or they can be opposed to this and risk thousands and thousands of jobs, Mr Deputy Speaker. So the choice is theirs. Do they want to support the xenophobic behaviour of the unions, or do they want to support real jobs and real growth in this country?
The honourable member